We are back from the commercial break, Mr. Ambassador. Please finish your idea about your people and living standards, and then we'll go to other questions more on geopolitics.
Yes, of course. I think today the people, they are very happy with the services which are receiving from the government, and I'm sure that through the efforts of this government, especially after this agreement in the nuclear discussion, we will have a better situation in the country to serve our.
Let me congratulate also your new government, because your new government was the first to try really hard to get to an agreement.
Yes.
And I am trying not to put you in difficult situations, but I believe it was important that your president, vice president, managed to also convince also your spiritual leader to accept this agreement as well, because our population should know that the power in your country is splitted. I mean, of course, administratively is managed by your president and your government, but the spiritual part is very important, and your supreme leader is also having a huge influence in the country.
Yes.
Now let me come with more questions on the geopolitical side. I would ask you, of course, a question which is maybe not related to your direct neighbors, but as you know, the Peter the Great, the Tsar of Russia, was having in mind to create an empire. Part of this empire was also Iran. And Vladimir Putin, 15 years ago, launched this idea of recreating this empire of Peter the Great. Now Iran is in these plans part of it. How do you see the actions of Russia, and how do you relate with Russia? And how do you see the policy of Mr. Putin to have this empire being re-established?
Of course, we are enjoying a very good relation between Iran and Russia, and we have a historic relation, and we have never really felt about the project which you mentioned.
You never heard? Well, he made it public when he became the prime minister, and he spoke very often about this.
No, I mean, we have never felt in Iran, we had no feeling about, I mean, taking into action about this project which you mentioned. On the other hand, we see that after dismantling of the USSR, and with the new republics of Russia, or new republics after USSR, we see that all new countries, they are living in peace, security, and independence, and none of them, they have felt such feeling which you mentioned.
Besides Ukraine, Moldova, Transnistria, Turkey.
Of course, Ukraine issue is something new, and I don't think is there any relation between that idea which you mentioned and that project and this problem or crisis in Ukraine. It is something different, and I hope that it will be solved through the discussion and in peaceful manner.
I asked you this because I will not contradict you, because it's not normal. I understand your diplomacy, and I accept it, and I appreciate your good relations with Russia, which is through the Caspian Sea, your neighbor.
Yes, of course.
But Mr. Putin several times mentioned this plan with recreating the empire. And Ukraine was part of this empire, Moldova was part of this empire, Transnistria was part of this empire, Georgia, and so on. And if we look to what Mr. Putin did under his administration, he invaded Georgia, he invaded Ukraine, he is now trying to control Moldova. He created Transnistria even though is part of Moldova, as a separate republic. Georgia is already on your side. On the other side of the Black Sea, closer to you. So I wouldn't say that Mr. Putin didn't try to put in practice, but what I understand from you is that Iran never felt this plan of Mr. Putin regarding Iran, just the other countries.
Yes, you are right. Of course, you are talking to the ambassador of the Islamic Republic of Iran and not the ambassador of Russia. Maybe in future you can invite the ambassador of Russia.
We invited him.
So you can have the relevant answers from him, which is the right person. As I mentioned before, from Iranian side, we have never felt that Russian has such plan and such idea, and we have always really enjoyed a very good and friendly relation with the Russian government, and it continues, and we expect in future it will be even more cooperation between Iran and Russia.
Okay, let's hope that Peter the Great will not be very soon see his dream. Let me go to the southern part. I was now speaking about the northern part of the Iran.
Yeah.
Let me go to the south, because you are such an interesting country in your geopolitical...
With 15 neighbors.
15 neighbors. But let me tell actually the viewers, all the neighbors of Iran, which is, because it's absolutely amazing. It's Afghanistan. I have to look, I have to read from it because it's too many.
Yes.
You have Afghanistan, you have Turkmenistan, you say you have Azerbaijan, you have Armenia, you have Iraq, you have Qatar, you have Pakistan, the Caspian Sea. I mean, you have Oman. I mean, are so many. How you manage with all of them? Because you had the war in Iraq very recently. You had Afghanistan also had a war there. How do you manage your relationship with all these neighbors?
Yeah.
Which one is the best, let's say, the closest relationship, and which one is the coldest?
Yeah. Of course, if you are aware, since 3 centuries back, we had no aggression toward any other country. Iran has tried to be always a very peaceful country and to enjoy good relation with the neighboring country. We pay great importance to the relation with our neighbors, and we think that it is our duty, because a neighbor, you do not choose a neighbor. A neighbor is a neighbor.
Yes.
So the best way is to understand each other and to try to live in peace and security. This is why, as you rightly mentioned, with so many neighbors, like 15 countries, and many of them very challenging countries, and very, dangerous crisis around Iran. Iran is the most stable and secured country in the region. And
maybe also Turkmenistan?
Turkmenistan is also is a very secure country. But in the western part of Iran, we have Iraq and the problem of Daesh and terrorism, you know. In the eastern part, we have Afghanistan, problem of Taliban. And in the southern part, now we have Yemen problem and the Persian Gulf countries who have this attack to Yemeni people. So all around of Iran, we have a problem, but alhamdulillah, we live in peace. And we invite our neighbors to try to solve the problems peacefully, and we are ready to assist them. We were really very assistant to them, very helpful to them to solve many problems. For example, in Afghanistan, as the Americans themselves mentioned and confessed, Iran was very helpful to solve many problems in Afghanistan. And in Iraq now, for example, if it was not Iran, now maybe Baghdad, the capital of Iraq, was in the hand of Daesh.
Oh yes,
because if you remember last year, when the Americans and some Western countries, they were busy with the changing of the government in Iraq, Daesh was attacking Baghdad, and it
That's
was
true.
only Iran who helped the Iraqi commanders and the Iraqi military, and they stopped Daesh attacking and entering Baghdad. It was very, very difficult and a dangerous situation.
You speak about the ISIS organization.
Yes.
We should tell the people the Islamic State organization.
Yes, of course, they are neither Islamic nor a state, but they have nothing to do with Islam.
This is how they call
we
themselves.
prefer to call them Daesh.
Okay.
So Iran still continues its support to the Iraqi people. We believe the best way is to attack and stop terrorism in the region is to empower the governments who are directly facing the terrorists, like the government of Iraq, the government of Syria, the government of Lebanon. If we empower these governments, they know their countries better than anybody else. So if they get enough armament and financial assistance, then definitely they will succeed to conquer.
Let me ask you something. How do you think okay, I don't know, this is the international definition they use, but I will try not to put it very much like that, the Islamic State. This organization, the terrorist organization, ISIS or...
Okay, no problem.
Okay. How do you think they arise? Because here we have a question. How such an organization could appear? What is your theory regarding the grassroots of this organization?
Yeah.
And what is your prediction regarding the future of it? Because all the world is now quite agitated because of the influence that this organization is starting to have. Money, they occupied important territories in Syria and Iraq. But first of all, how this organization grew up and appeared?
You should go back a little, like 4 years back, when the problem in Syria started. If you remember those days, the terrorists or the opposition attacked the government of Syria. And unfortunately, American, some European countries, they started to support them by financial assistance and armament. Those days, Islamic Republic of Iran openly announced, please stop. They are not revolutionary people. They are not revolutionary people. They are not the continuous of what you call it Arabic Spring, which has started from Tunisia, Libya, Egypt, and now in Syria. No. It has come to Syria, but now these people, they are not revolutionary because they have collected guns, they are attacking a legitimate government. It is not a revolution. Stop supporting them. They didn't listen to us. They continued it. Those days it was a small terrorist group in Syria, but now it's a big terrorist group, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon. They are looking even for other countries called Daesh.
And
so it is the root of establishing Daesh or ISIS is because of the big mistake which happened 4 years back. And you know that Madame Mogherini openly announced that it was not a right policy, and he has corrected the policy, and now he says the government of Syria is a part of solution, Iran, Russia, they are part of solution, and this problem crisis has no military solution and should be solved in a peaceful manner. So this is the reason or the root of the...
And how do you see the how do you see the end of the story for ISIS? Are they going to grow, or they will be reduced?
If the other country, they follow our policy, as I mentioned, to support, to empower the governments who are directly facing the terrorists, we will succeed maybe even in few days to remove all the terrorists. But if you follow this idea of the coalition to stop on the air and just bombarding these terrorists, I don't think they will succeed. Because the terrorists, they are not a classic army. They can quickly move, and bombardment is useless. Even they have sent so many parcels of armament, they think to the opposition of Syria, but Daesh has collected those armament. Maybe it's 5 or 6 times it happened. So the best way is to empower the governments.
How can these governments can be empowered?
They need armament. They need financial assistance. But unfortunately, even in this situation, the Americans, they announced we are against the government of Assad, so we still support the opposition. So it's very ridiculous.
In Syria, you mean?
In Syria, you are supporting the opposition of Assad. Assad wants to fight the terrorists, Daesh, al-Nusra and the others. You are supporting for example, al-Nusra or the other opposition group against Syria. So how the government of Syria can fight against the Daesh people?
Mr. Ambassador, you are a fantastic analyst. But let me challenge you.
Yes.
Maybe the Americans or the Western community thinks like this. Assad is not a democratic leader, so we cannot support and give weapons to a regime that can do more harm in the future. And maybe they think that just destroying the terrorist group is enough. They don't have to empower other governments to have more weapons and resources. Governments which are not very much favorable to the Western community, like the Assad government. Maybe this is the explanation, but I understand the paradox you are describing.
Yes.
The paradox you are describing is that the Western community supported the opposition to Assad, and this opposition became ISIS, correct?
Yes.
And with the support of the Western community, now they turn against the Western community, and they grow from a small group with support from the Western community in a large group.
Yes.
And in the same time, we don't have a solution because we don't trust the regime of Syria or Iraq and so on.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate your very honest and very direct analysis. I will not comment on it because it's not to be commented.
Yeah.
People will make their own assessment. But I will move to Afghanistan. How do you see the danger of continuing the war in Afghanistan? Is this an area more dangerous than ISIS, or do you believe it is now under control?
Of course, from the time of the entrance of the NATO to Afghanistan, unfortunately, according to the statistics of United Nations, up to now, the production of narcotics in Afghanistan has increased by 40 times.
By 40 times?
40 times comparing to 2006. It's
of drugs?
Yeah, the drugs, yes, the narcotics. And it's a big problem for us because they want to have a transit way from Iran toward Europe and the other countries. And we have unfortunately lost a lot of our military and the police in this field to stop them, and a lot of course, financial resources in this field. So I don't know really how the presence of NATO was useful in Afghanistan, how they have programmed to conquer these problems in that country. We believe that we need really more cooperation between the government of Afghanistan and the regional governments like Iran and Pakistan. So by this regional cooperation, maybe we will be more successful to conquer this kind of terrorism and
yes.
And somehow worse than terrorism, which is a narcotic danger in the region, in the world.
So after the war started recently, the production of drugs increased it 40 times.
40 times, yes.
And this is absolutely dangerous, because what you are telling us is that the criminality is very high.
That's true, yes.
So Afghanistan is not a controlled state, and the government of Afghanistan doesn't succeed to manage to ensure the security of the state.
Yes.
Mr. Ambassador, before the next break of commercials, I will ask you a question which is more largely, so I will let you answer with more time. I believe that in this new agreement that the international community is signing with you,
yes,
even though it's not on paper, I believe they expect. What I would say I expect, because I'm a citizen of Romania, I'm not part of the negotiations. I would expect, and I think they also expect, the 6 negotiators, but also the rest of the world, for you to be a center not only of stability together with Turkey and Turkmenistan, but also to help solving this crisis in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Yemen, even though in Yemen some accuse you of supporting the Shiite population against the rest. But I believe they consider you as, by signing the agreement and opening yourself and being more democratic, in their view, and stopping the nuclear program, or opening yourself actually to control, or to be the pillar for all these unfortunate conflicts in the region, because we have many conflicts. We should mention also Kuwait and all the others where we had wars in the past. Do you see yourself that pillar?
Yes. As I mentioned, Iran in this very challenging region is the most stable and secure country, and is the pillar of security. Iran is completely prepared and has announced several times that is ready to help to bring peace and security in the region in different areas. Regarding the Yemen issue, it's a very unfortunate situation because the Yemeni government and the opposition, they had entered into discussion and they were going on. Unfortunately, Mr. Abdurrahman Mansour Hadi resigned, and he went to Aden and announced Aden as a new capital, which is really funny, to change the capital of a country just in a few hours. And some Persian Gulf countries, they transferred their embassies to that city, and of course not the others. By this action, it's quite clear that opposition who were in discussion with Mr. Abdurrahman Mansour, they went toward Aden to stop him following this policy. Even they wanted him to come back to the negotiation, but unfortunately at the same time the Saudis started attacking Yemeni people, and innocent Yemeni people, killing innocent people and bombarding the schools, the hospitals and the houses of the people, and destroying the infrastructure of the country. We are supporting the people of all the country, and we see this right for the people of every country to decide about their destiny.
But are you involved in the...
We are not involved at all. You can go and see among the victims, is there even one Iranian person? No. It's meaningless, it is baseless.
Or with weapons? Or...
Not at all, not at all. And it is only brutality and cruel attack of Saudis who are attacking the innocent people. And we think it is really meaningless. What they want to get to gain from this attack? Can they impose a government to the people of Yemen by attacking them? Can they impose them and oblige them to accept the government that the Saudis like to be on power in Yemen? It's impossible. This is the destiny of every nation to decide.
When you just to explain the people, you are referring now to Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
Yes, because it is important to explain who is involved in the conflict.
Yes, Saudi Arabia.
You speak about the Saudi Arabia.
The Saudi Arabia, they are attacking and killing the innocent people of Yemen to oblige them to accept the government that the Saudi Arabia would like to be in power. No, it's not possible. It is the right of every nation to decide about its own destiny. And the Yemeni people, they have their own.
Yes. We take another break of commercial and
Yes.
come back with so many interesting aspects. Publicitate.